Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Hello,
welcome to
casual
another episode.
creeps.
Yeah, that's right, Casual Creeps. And and
I don't know
this
where I am.
I don't know. Where am I? It's been a while. We skipped a week, so we're
It
getting back
has.
into the swing of things.
So it's all new
Um,
again. I don't know what's happening.
all new, and as a reminder, like for this Casual Creep series, it is not as casual as we expected it to be. So and
Well, if
and
somehow they're still listening by the episode 6, I think they're very aware of what's going on.
true, I probably don't have to remind everybody.
If they've buckled in for the ride up to this point, congratulations. Good for you for us not warning you about how triggeringly racist this show.
Oh my god.
But hey,
Yeah,
we're just gonna keep plowing through this train wreck and get through the end of the dumpster fire.
yeah, we're just gonna plow through. This episode, we're on day 7, but it's just the morning, I believe, for this
Yes,
episode.
it's a shining morning, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Just because,
Why is it a shining morning?
because, because the mom's holding an axe. She's holding the
Oh,
axe
okay. Yes,
at
I
the
was like,
beginning,
why?
like I was waiting for you. So I was like, oh, she's not. So picking up on my cue.
I've seen The Shining many times, but there's so many things in that
Well, just because
movie.
Jack Torrance, he goes nuts and tries to murder his family with an axe. Like, here's Johnny, and he's like, he
Yes,
kills that poor groundskeeper dude.
yes, that is very true.
Yeah, so she has a very
I was
Shining-esque axe, and she's holding it over her child's bed in the morn.
Yes. So, yeah, to start it out, I guess we'll say the thing I wrote at the top of my notes is whole family is losing it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Perfect,
entire
nailed it.
family, the whole family is just going insane at this point. And
It
it's
is.
day 7.
It's a descent into madness. That's what
It's just
this
a
show is
descent into
turning
madness
into.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode specifically, and it starts out right in the morning of day 7, and we go through each character, and each one it's like very uncomfortable scenes of
A lot of awkward
what.
camera angles, really good.
Yeah, the camera angles are
Weird.
really cool this episode.
Yeah.
It was very exaggerated and um, very
Like,
horror-esque with the camera stuff this episode.
if we haven't stressed it enough, like the cinematography is just amazing in the
Yeah,
show
it really
overall.
does make the show.
And like, yeah,
But
even
yeah,
though, yeah, we're talking about all these terrible things, it's like very bearable when you're watching it through its lens.
yes. Yeah, I agree. And like you were saying, the first person we see in this episode is Lucky, and we see her uh, standing over. Is it? It was Ruby,
The
I believe, the
older
older
daughter, yeah,
daughter.
Ruby, yeah.
And Ruby wakes up and she's like, "Mom, is everything okay?" and and Lucky's like, "Go back to sleep. Mama's gonna be just fine." And then she has her axe that she just winds up and like slams down, and she wakes up from her dream. And so she was clearly just dreaming this, but she gets up and she's just in this crazed daze for the rest of the morning. And you see
Well,
her
but
go into the kitchen.
that
Sorry?
one shot though, when she wakes up, is so cool because it's the identical shot to when she's wearing her white blouse in, I think, the second episode. At the very beginning,
Oh.
she also wakes up and she's lying on the exact same camera angle, and her hands are exactly the same, but this time, like, her husband's arm is revealed underneath hers, and because the first time she was missing him. And so, if you
Oh.
actually look at the two shots are identical, but she's wearing a black nightgown in this episode. She's wearing a white nightgown in the previous episode, but like it's the exact
Ah.
same shot. She's looking exactly the same, both terrified because I think she has a nightmare or something in the other episode, or she's like waking up because the racist crap that happened or something. But
Yeah.
it's like the identical shot, so I thought that was really cool and like really well done. And it was very purposeful how they like hid the husband's hand underneath her, so it still looks like an identical shot while being different, which is
Okay, that's a good point. I didn't notice that at all. That's cool.
that's cool.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so Emma's commentary. That's cool. Moving on.
That's cool.
Uh, so she gets up from bed and she makes her way to the kitchen, and then we see Ruby sitting there with her breakfast, and she has her cereal. And we just, I don't, this shot, I don't know why bothered me more than any of the other ones, because you see her with like her milk in her cereal bowl and she's just
Yeah.
staring at the spoon. And I'm just waiting for some ghost lady to pop up like a jump scare as a reflection behind her on this spoon, but
Yeah,
nothing does.
yeah, yeah.
Just staring at it, and it's just the shot lasts for just slightly too long that it makes you so uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're
Um,
waiting for it to go away. You're like,
yeah,
I want the
it was
show to move on now.
right, or
But
at least
she's
release the tension, but it
yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't release the tension. She's still looking at her spoon and spinning it around, and then we
Yeah.
cut to Lucky again, but now she's doing Gracie's hair, and she
But more
has this
tension. More
more
tension.
tension,
That's the
and
important part. It's not a happy moment. There's no release here.
there's no release, and we're just cutting, and it's still this ominous moment in the kitchen. No one is talking to each other, and
Hmm.
we see that Lucky is heating up like this curling rod on the stove, which is kind
Yeah.
of interesting to
Her
see. At first, I was
brush.
like, "Did she mean to do that?" But yeah,
Mm-mm.
it's a brush. It's
I
a
think it's a
like a metal
mistake.
brush.
Yeah, I think she's accidentally doing that, but she also
Because I
that means
thought,
she turned on the
because
stove. And
I think that is how you're supposed to heat it up for that type of
oh,
hair.
she's heated up too
Um,
much.
because I think normally you would be using that and you would be very careful about how you're placing it, but
Yeah,
because in this moment she's heating up this metal comb thing
yeah,
on the
yeah. The
stove,
comb.
she picks it up and brushes it through Gracie's hair, and she's kind of creating like this hairstyle with it,
Hmm.
um, and it kind of straightens it or dekinks it, I guess, as you're brushing it through the hair.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but she's kind of out of it, and during this moment, she accidentally hits the back of Gracie's neck
Oh, yeah, yeah,
with the comb, and it
yeah.
leaves like huge mark, like
Burns
this
her.
burn
Yeah.
mark, yeah, on the back of her neck. So
Well, and
yeah,
then
that's kind of
sadly, she runs to her Ruby and says, what did you do to her, Mama? What did you do to
yes,
her?" And they just blame her instantly, like she's like did it on purpose. Like there's no
yeah,
sympathy for her being an accident or anything.
yeah, and I mean I could understand because like they both Gracie and Ruby have kind of seen their own mother's descent into badness. So
Yeah.
they're kind of just like, oh fuck, is she going back to this place? They're not
Well, it's, yeah.
responding properly, but they're just kids,
Yeah, they
but
don't
it's
have like the I don't know the experiences and mental
or the
understanding,
understanding. Yeah.
yeah, to like grasp what
So
she might be going through. Like they don't understand what it's like to be a mother and losing a child and getting raped at the same time.
yeah.
There's a lot to
Yeah.
unpack there. A lot to unpack. But yeah,
And
the episode moves on from there to more
yeah,
unhappy
we see
territory.
we see Bets now in her house
Ah, yes,
with the
Bets.
wallpaper. So
Yes.
that was
Oh,
kind of
this is at least like my relief. I love seeing Bets just like unhappy. It makes me
me
happy.
too. I can't remember, in was it in this episode where Lucky slaps Bets and then that's what
Yeah,
puts her over the edge?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
this
okay.
episode.
So that's what happens because I didn't
Yeah,
write that down. But yeah,
yeah,
so Lucky is on her lawn, and
that's
I
at the
think
end of the episode. Yeah, she.
oh, that's at the end of the episode. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's
That's
the end
why
of the
I
episode.
didn't write it down. But yeah, so Bets, we cut to Bets and we see oh that's right. She just like slightly peels away a piece of this wallpaper that's starting to peel
A
off.
little bit of
And you can
black.
see that there's like black mold behind it. Like there's like a
Mm-hmm.
peels a little bit and you're like, "Oh, what the fuck? What's
Yeah.
going on behind there?" And it just makes me think like it gave me two ideas of what they're trying to not overly subtly hint at that
Well, it's
either
not. I wouldn't even say it's that subtly. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not super subtle or anything, but yeah, they're um, either representing or both that Bets is just like she's all facade and she's rotten underneath.
Hmm.
And then it also is kind of a callback to when she gave that speech at that big house, the house owner
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, yeah. Where
And
she,
she referred to them as like the black mold that once you see it, it's already too late, kind of a thing. So it's
yeah, yeah.
kind of hinting at, okay, well, it's too late.
Well,
You're
yeah, yeah.
already
I think that's kind of like the overarching message, just like the black
yeah.
mold storyline kind of gets carried through. Where, well, it's even hinted at in the very first episode when she first
Yeah,
goes back in her house and there's a little tear in her
but you
wallpaper.
don't
But
see what's underneath it. You just sort
yeah,
of see it's like, okay, there's some cracks
mm-hmm.
on this surface. Whatever's going on beneath it, I'm sure we'll find out soon.
And
Um,
Scooby Doo. Betsy's a
yeah,
horrible, horrible person. Makes
she's
me so
also
happy.
it. Yeah, I think it also is an apt representation of her. Her house is also her.
Yeah, she's all
She's
exterior.
rotten on the inside. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's all wallpaper.
Well, yeah, yeah, she is. She's like she looks like human wallpaper. She's always dressed in these like monochromatic outfits, and she always has this plastered smile on her face, and
Yeah,
she just presents this very like I don't know same look every time.
yeah,
So she's
yeah.
definitely yeah creepy.
She's a delight.
Oh yeah, she's a wonderful lady.
And then we get to see Henry, so we get to see
Uh,
his losing it moment
yeah,
when
yeah, yeah. More losing it, more
he
tension.
gets yeah, he gets
Again, it's like
reprimanded by his boss basically,
yeah, for
and almost gets fired. Yeah,
but why does he get reprimanded?
for not doing another man's work basically, because
Yeah,
he was sharing this
a
job with one
project.
of his coworkers, a project with one of his coworkers, and they had split it up into sections. And so Henry did exactly what he was supposed to be doing, and I guess his counterpart didn't do everything he was supposed to do, but because his coworker did do it, his boss almost fires him because he sees that as his job to make sure that it's all done in completion, even though technically he wasn't supposed to be handling the other part of it.
Yeah, it's just a
Um,
guy being lazy and then expecting him to do his work, and then he doesn't
yeah,
get reprimanded.
he doesn't know because he's the white dude, and they his boss removes him from the Pentagon project, and yeah, Henry basically almost loses it in that
It's
moment.
yeah, he's like clenching his fists so hard that he
That
has
his like
like fingernail
he
mark
starts
cuts.
bleeding, yeah, from his fingernails puncturing his skin
Yeah,
in his hand.
poor Henry.
Yes. Um, yeah, and next up, we're back to Lucky, and she's visiting her cousin Hazel that we saw
Ah,
in a
yes,
previous episode where
the
she
happy episode.
yeah, when she visits her cousins and she goes to like the black neighborhood and she sees kind of what it should be like living in a neighborhood where people
Mm-hmm.
don't give a shit. You can
Well,
do whatever you want,
they're
and
not
it's not
racist.
like you're living in a bunch of yeah, in a racist community. And basically she gets the details about the Beaumonts, which
Yeah,
is the first family that moved into Compton. I think
yeah,
was it like West Compton or something.
yeah, yeah.
Something. Well, they're the first black family that moved into Compton, and she learns that basically Annette Beaumont, the
Yeah, the
wife,
mom.
killed killed her whole family.
Yep.
Yeah,
Not
and
so good.
um,
And
that
Lucky like
basically triggers
pieces
Lucky
in
to go visit.
super hard.
Yeah, Lucky just like okay, so she needs to go and find this person, and she's in like an insane asylum.
Hmm.
And we don't see too much of them, um, but there's just a line that Mrs. Beaumont says, because Mrs. Beaumont is kind of asking Lucky if she has a family or kids,
Hmm.
because Lucky goes up and is like, yeah, I just wanted to ask you questions because I moved into East Compton, and Mrs. Beaumont is like, um, before you kill them, you ought to think about how much you'll miss them once they're gone. And
Mhm.
that's all she says, and you're just like, oh, good. This is gonna go
Yeah.
so well for the Emerys.
Yeah, no, doesn't
Yeah,
she talk about how she like sees like the ghost or something? Like she was forced to
yeah,
do
that's
it.
right.
Yeah, she like comments
Yeah,
on how
that's right.
she wasn't in control of doing it.
It was very vague. It was like she kind of hints at she's like the the lawyer didn't know about my family when I moved in, and
Mm,
or she said like the man in the black hat,
yeah,
and so she's
yeah,
like confusing these people, and Lucky's like, wait, what do you mean the man in the black hat? She's like, oh, it's my lawyer. It's like, what?
yeah.
So it
So
was like he kind of forced her hand on it, but she's like confusing. I don't know. It was very vague.
she's crazy.
She's a little insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically the man in the black hat is has something to do with this.
Yeah, well, and
With
that's what the priest ghost dude was
yes,
the
that
man
Lucky
in the
saw
black hat.
on the bus that one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. One
Yes.
can surmise it's
Uh,
probably him.
yeah. Um oh yeah, and then we get to go to now we're gonna go and see what Ruby's doing. This was
Ruby.
a really weird scene.
Oh yeah. This is awkward, and this is like it was really
It's
funny.
terrible.
So Vanessa watched this with me originally, but she hasn't seen any of it since. And even
Okay.
when we were watching it, she was just like, "Is that white girl real?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's very astute of you."
Yeah,
'Cause
that especially in this episode, it does feel a little bit
it's
she's
forced.
definitely feeling way more forced.
Yeah, well,
So,
because I think they keep, and it's very subtle, but I think it becomes less subtle as the shots go on. But I think they intercut her face as the cheerleader every once in a
yes,
while
they
on the
do,
flash cuts. Yeah, so you're actually seeing her face on the cheerleaders dancing around
yeah.
her, even though she's still sitting over on the other side. So it's like gives a very oh okay, well she's definitely a ghost now.
Yeah, so to explain what happened,
Yeah.
basically Ruby and this ghost girl that we've seen in a previous episode, they go down to to the basement of the school once again, which is kind of where it seems like this ghost girl likes to take her all the time. But
Mhm.
she was telling Ruby like, "Oh, there's like some cheerleading tryouts. We're definitely going to go to this. It'll be super awesome." But it takes place in the basement, and like
Where
in my head I'm
cheerleading
like,
tryouts take place.
why would anyone be doing that in the basement? But okay. So after school she meets her ghost girlfriend down in the
Ghost
basement,
Girlfriend. That could be a
which she
modern
doesn't
day
know.
TV show. Ghost Girlfriend.
Beautiful. I can see it.
Yeah.
It's like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, except
Yeah. It's
she's
like she's in high school and she's like the outcast girl, but then like the popular girl, she dies in a car accident, and then she becomes the ghost and teaches the unpopular girl how to be popular.
oh yeah, I
And
could
then
see
she
that
ends
actually
up
being
dating
oh
the ghost girlfriend's boyfriend.
oh damn, and then she's gonna get all jealous and things
And
are gonna get
yeah.
wild.
And then Ghost Girlfriend will possess her and have sex with the boyfriend in
Oh
the
my
the
god.
girl's body. That'll be the cliffhanger of the first season.
Well, that's nice.
Ghost
That's
Girlfriend.
why does everything always come back to being John Malkovich? Because there's that
I don't know how that connects to John Malkovich. Ghost
there's
Girlfriend,
this
John
scene,
Malkovich.
there's this scene where they go into the girlfriend's brain to like have or some no, of course they can only go into John
Malkovich,
Malkovich's
yeah.
brain. But they go into his brain to have sex with the like girl that
Yeah.
they have. Anyways, we're going on
It's
random tangents, but being John Malkovich, just he relates to everything. This movie, you can connect it to whatever you want.
yeah. For everything.
So yeah, Ruby's in the basement with her ghost girlfriend,
Yeah,
and
Ghost
she's seeing like all these cheerleaders doing this dance routine, and it is just so fake. All of them are smiling so blankly and staring straight ahead, doing like this dance
Like
routine. And one of them
clapping
like
and
pulls Ruby in, is like, "Come on, join us." And so Ruby's kind of like following along. She seems to be enjoying it, and then it's slowly turning like
they all start dancing
they,
around her like in a
they start
circle.
dancing around her, and then weird demon shit just happens to
Oh
like the
yeah, they
cheerleader.
start contortionating really
Yes.
crazy and
And there's like weird black veins that start like coming
oh yeah,
just
that's
more
right. Oh, their
visible, and
necks and their
their eyes
eyes
become
and
black, and then that's when like the ghost girl's face is sometimes on them and sometimes
yeah.
it's not, and it's very creepy.
When the
It kind of
camera's
reminded
spinning
me
super fast, it's very
it kind of reminded me
Suspiria if people
yeah, Suspiria. It reminded me, I mean, I haven't seen Suspiria, but I've heard you describe it. And
have. Yes, you have in detail.
and it reminded me of some of the shots from the new Stranger Things season with the arms breaking, doing the like.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Which I thought was just a poor imitation of Suspiria. It's like no one's
I was
pissed.
fine with it because that already grossed me out. So,
No, no one's pissing themselves while this is happening. I don't believe it. I don't believe it to be
ugh,
true. Well, also it's because like in Stranger Things, you know it's all CG, right? Like you can tell it's like a
yeah,
CG body, but like in Suspiria, they got a contortionist to really bend themselves in like horrifying ways, and they combine it with sound effects and like the editing and the music that's playing is like insane, and then she eventually starts levitating in the air and she starts pissing herself and shitting herself and she just
nice.
folds into a pretzel, but she's not, you think she's dead, but then the movie cuts away and then 40 minutes later you find out she's still alive and these witches come in and hook her with these gold hooks and bring her into this witch basement, and she comes back later at the end of the movie and she's like a pretzel monster with no
Oh,
limbs.
great.
They cut off all of her limbs, so she just has stumps for her arms and legs, and she just like comes at her with stumpy
Oh,
bits,
good.
but
I
she's all
don't want to
broken.
watch that.
Oh, it will be on the docket one day.
I
But it's
can't.
classy. It's artistic. It's
It's
artistic
artistic
gore.
and disgusting.
Yeah.
But
Well, it is.
anyways,
Yes.
um,
Back to the movie or the show
before
at hand.
I piss myself.
So she was spin.
So she's
What?
dancing with all these dancing with all these demon cheerleaders, and then it just hard cuts to her dancing by herself, doing like sort
Mhm.
of the sad dance clapping
Doing a
thing by
sad dance.
herself.
Yeah. It's so pathetic. She's just like kicking her legs in the air and like alone.
And it's all silence, like
Yeah.
no
No.
sound. You
Yeah.
just hear the sound of her feet hitting the floor and like her clapping her hands, and it's very uncomfortable.
And there's
But it was
so much
effective.
noise before that. Like it just hard
Yeah,
cuts to her just.
exactly.
Yeah. I would love if the janitor came in. It's like, what are you doing?
What's up? Yeah, that
You're
would be weird.
crazy, girl.
And the next scene was actually my favorite scene of the episode because it reminded me so much of The Shining
More
when
shining.
Jack is he's drunk talking to his father at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bar.
yeah.
It's Henry and the haunted TV. So
Yes, yes.
Henry,
Oh,
yeah, just the vibe of this reminded, and that's my favorite scene from The Shining is when
yeah.
Henry is talking to the bartender, which is basically like his
Jack.
father,
Yeah. Jack's
Jack.
talking to. Yeah.
Yeah, when
Is that
Jack
who he's
is,
supposed
but
to be? Is he supposed to be his father?
yeah,
I
the
never
he's
knew
supposed
that.
to be drunk talking to his father. That's what it was in the book.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. Why
Yeah.
in Doctor Sleep, Danny talks to Jack at the end of the movie at the bar.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
because
Here's
I didn't.
full circle.
Yeah, because they don't spell that out at all in the movie. If you just, because I haven't
No,
read the book.
it is hinted once I read the book and then I watched the movie. I was like, oh, okay, it's really subtle, but it is
Yeah,
kind of there. Like he's hinting at it, but it's not overly obvious.
I did not pick up
But
on that
yeah,
at all.
but yeah, so this scene is really cool. Henry comes home from work, and as soon as he walks in, the TV just snaps on, and it's just playing random things, and just doesn't care. He's like, all right, okay. And I think that's why it was starting to remind me of Jack, because it's like he's sort of becoming like accepting
Yeah,
in
well,
his
and I
in
really
him losing it.
yeah, yeah. I really enjoy how they're using all of like what are considered the comforts of America against him. Like those are the things that they're
Yeah,
using to kind of haunt him. Like all the
that's so
things that
true.
Americans want, he's trying to achieve, but like, you know, that's what's haunting him essentially is all the stuff that he's trying to get.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, he goes to the kitchen and grabs like a beer, sits down on the couch, and he's just drinking and kind of like you think he's talking to himself, but he kind of just like looks to his side and is like talking, and then he like looks back to the TV and is just super out of it. And then the camera pans over, and it's like his ghost, which is like the
Yeah,
creepy black,
the scariest ghost of all.
the scary ass blackface creepy dude that I swear, like the way that my brain processes him, he looks CG. Like he just doesn't even look like a real person. Like the
They
way he
make his face
moves
so
too,
shiny. Yeah, well, like, and well, yeah, see, he stops.
so
Like, he's
smooth.
very
Yeah,
characteristic. He's like a Charlie Chaplin body mechanics, but like
yeah.
he,
I think it's because he stops and moves very suddenly, but when he
mhm,
moves, it's so smooth. It's almost like when
yeah,
something is animated, it's like on ones,
yeah,
and
and
I
well,
don't
just like
know.
his mouth is like he can like just make his mouth so big, and he just is like always
Makeup is
over pronouncing everything, and his
yeah.
makeup is like
Because the
super
makeup is
terrifying.
really exaggerating, like, how big his mouth is too, and it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
like,
I was like, just
it
make that guy the
accentuates.
Joker in the new Batman movie. Just make that guy the Joker. That's how
Oh,
you
it's
make the new
so
Joker.
good.
Just have a horrible, to have like an African American guy with that makeup on. That would scare the shit out of people. Like that is
Yeah,
terrifying. Everyone knows what the Joker looks like. Have that dude play the Joker with white
Jesus
lips.
Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the makeup is it's done on a black person, but they put the white,
black face
like,
over
super
it.
just white paint on him, but it's, like,
Yeah,
shitty white paint, and then they paint over that with black, so it's like
yeah,
he's playing a white person playing a black face.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a black person playing a blackface person, which is
That's
the
what I mean.
yeah,
He's a
yeah,
black person playing a white person
yeah,
playing a
yeah.
blackface. Yeah.
So many layers,
Ah!
so messed
But
up.
yeah, this ghost is basically just convincing Henry to kill his boss because he's really feeding into his anger and is just like,
Yeah.
"Well, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it,
Oh,
Henry?
and he kind of sings.
He can't make you
And he's
feel that
stomping
way."
his feet. What you gonna
Yeah,
do? What you gonna do?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What you Oh, yeah, I wrote down "what you gonna do" with the word "sing" next to it. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when I come for you? Oh, oh,
Bad
oh,
boys,
oh.
bad boys. Maybe that's why it
It's
was
not
in it, because in Cops, they probably mainly arrested black people in that show. I watched Cops,
I
but I was never had the intelligence as a 8-year-old to understand it.
yeah, I don't know if that's what they were going for, but I can't even remember the
Either
tune
way,
he was singing it to, but it was very menacing,
yeah,
and then
it's
Henry is just in this state of, like, just such, animalistic anger. He
mhm,
stands up, grabs his shotgun, and leaves, and
yeah,
that's
not a good thing.
what he does.
He just walks out the door in a very menacing shot, and
Yeah.
just still
Um,
camera over the empty house.
yes, and I guess we could
Artistic.
finish his little plot point in this
Yeah,
episode. He shows up at his boss's house, um, but as he's kind of trying to figure out when to kind of find the perfect moment to break in, he's like looking through the window. A neighbor calls him out,
yeah,
and this is so uncomfortable because you just see this shift in Henry where he
yeah,
was never like this before, and he's just like looking at his feet. And the
yeah. He's
neighbor
very
is like, "What are you doing in this part of town? You need to get out of here." It's like, "You
yeah.
don't belong here,"
He
kind
tells
of
him
a
to
thing.
look
And
at him and stuff, like he's because he doesn't want to make eye contact.
yeah, Henry can't even look at this guy. Whereas before, we've seen Henry stand up for himself, to his boss's boss to
Yeah.
like, try
Well, and like the
to
crazy neighbors that threatened him, telling him to come down the ladder and stuff,
exactly.
and like
And now he can't even look at a random stranger,
he's not even
and
threatening him. Like he's just telling him what the
not
hell
even
he's.
threatening him, just telling him to leave, basically. And so it looks like Henry's about to leave, but then we basically see Henry walk up behind this neighbor as he's walking away, and he punches him out. And
Yeah,
he falls out cold on the street. And then that's the last we see of Henry this episode.
yeah. I think he
Right?
drives away, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see Gracie. We haven't really seen her for a bit.
Oh,
She's in
Gracie,
kindergarten. She
so
still
cute.
has the like burn mark on the back of
Mm-hmm.
her neck, which like makes me
Poor little
sad.
Gracie.
I know. And they're doing, and she's such a good little student that it makes
Yeah,
me so
yeah.
sad that this happens because
I
the
know.
whole class is going over the American anthem, I believe. Is that what
Yeah,
it
it's all
was?
the pledge to the flag,
Oh,
I
pledge
think.
the allegiance.
Yeah,
Right. She was
yeah.
pledging the allegiance to America.
We're
And
Canadian, so we don't know.
now we don't know anything about America,
Yeah.
except for the bad stuff, which I'm not going to talk about right now. Uh,
Oh, yeah, I'll date this.
just blah, blah. Um,
Cut the feed! Cut the feed! She's going off book.
cut the feed. So everyone in the class is repeating like the pledge the allegiance thing, and the teacher's like, does anyone want to come up front and do it by themselves in front of the flag? And Gracie's so excited, she puts her hand out,
Oh,
she really
she's
wants to
so
do it.
cute. She's like,
She's so cute, she's so excited.
like
I
the way
want to
she's
do it,
doing
I
it.
know
Like,
how to do it.
she's
So
so
excited. And
adorable.
yeah, she's so cute. And the teacher's like, okay, Gracie, come on up. And she comes on up. She stands next to
She
the flag.
claps before she, like, when she gets picked, she goes like,
So yeah,
I was like, oh, it's
yes,
adorable.
yes,
She's so
she's so
excited.
cute. And she goes, stands next to the flag, and she starts talking, and then you see her just kind of like look to the side, and the creepy nun lady is standing
Mm-hmm.
outside of the kindergarten classroom, and she's just like staring at her.
Miss
And
something.
yeah, and so Gracie just slowly looks over, and she starts saying cat in the bag
Oh.
over and over. She starts repeating that, and we know from the last episode why that's
Uh.
probably burnt into her memory.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, but
yeah,
she wouldn't even have been aware of it because, like, it's not like she would have been super young, and like, I'm sure no one would have told her that. So, like,
yeah,
how did she know that word? Like, the ghost is telling her or
yeah.
something. She says
Oh
it very
God,
creepily over and over again.
very
It's
creepily.
so horrible.
And
Get the bag, get the bag.
it's so shitty. And yeah, Lucky has to come and pick up Gracie and take her home, and the teacher is just super condescending towards her.
Doesn't go well.
That she belong in a class like this. It's like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Lucky's
It's like,
yeah, you're right. She doesn't. Takes her out.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh, so shitty. But
Yeah, that poor
there's
child.
another part I forgot to bring up with Lucky. When she finds out what exactly Miss Beaumont did to her family. Do you remember that part?
Well,
Kind
I
of.
remember like she goes and visits her and she tells her, but I don't remember what she does afterwards.
So, yeah, Miss Beaumont explains exactly what she did.
Yeah,
She poured bleach
yeah,
onto
yeah,
her
yeah.
husband and
And they're
her
like
son.
bleeding from their eyes and
They're
mouth.
bleeding, and it's like so.
Well, and they're like
Yeah,
praying for it. They're like saying, and she's smiling while it's happening
she's
too. It's
saying, light and bright, all is right," over and over
oh
as
yeah, yeah,
she's
light and
pouring
bright,
it.
and they're saying it too. Light and bright,
Yeah.
all is right.
Yes. Oh, um, yeah, I don't know. I wrote down something else she said. She's like, "Man with the black hat, I never told the policeman about them." And that was
Okay,
what I was like kind of confused by. But
yeah,
so policeman, not lawyer. Anyways.
yeah. Potato, potato. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Um And then we're back to the end, like the final shot of the episode where or the final few shots of the
Yeah, the
episode.
front lawn of the
Front
Emerys.
lawn of Lucky's house, of the
Yep.
Emery's house. And Bets is basically just like, why don't you leave? Why don't you just get out of here? You don't belong here. And
And she
Bets, or
ignores
sorry,
her. It's so amazing. She just ignores her and just like stonewalls her.
stonewalls her. But Lucky actually just walks up to her and slaps her in the face.
No,
And
no,
then,
no, no. That's not it though. No, no, because she stonewalls her at first and starts walking
yeah,
away with her daughter, with the daughter. But then
right, yeah,
she
yeah.
says the N word, and that's when she turns around. And she's just like, "Just go in the house." And
Gotcha.
she turns around, just like, bam! Chris slaps her across the
Slaps
face. You're
her
just like,
across the face.
yes. So I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
oh, because it's like she was just
Fuck
trying.
yeah.
Betsy was trying so hard not to like stoop to that level. So it's like, oh fuck you, Betsy, you dumb bitch. It's like finally, it's like you've cracked it.
Stupid idiot.
You're just the same racist as everybody else. You're no better. You just proved it, and she can now slap the shit out of you. Because if the cops get
Exactly.
called, she can tell that racist police officer that she incited the incident.
It's
So
very true. And I
Betsy.
love when Lucky goes back to the house and
And the
Gracie
music.
is just like, "That's right, Mama. You're gonna
Yeah,
beat
yeah,
their
yeah.
ass."
Yeah,
When
yeah, I'm gonna
Gracie,
beat. Remember what Mama told you? Mama gonna beat their ass.
yeah,
She did. She did.
that's right, Mama.
That was so
Make out
adorable. And the music's playing, and you're just like, yeah, finally, a
good,
gratifying
yeah.
moment. Finally,
And then
Lucky gets a moment to fucking let out all of her
yes,
rage.
and then we see Bets just running into her house in a total rage, and she's peeling all her wallpaper off, and you just see
Yeah,
this mold behind all of this wallpaper. And
destroying all of her fine china cabinet and
that's right,
everything,
for
and
some
just.
reason. And then she calls her friend for a favor, and that's where the episode ends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Da-da-da.
was
Exciting
episode
episode.
6 of them.
There's only 3 more, I believe.
Oh boy.
So it's
Getting
coming to the
close.
climax. It's coming to the climax.
If we can, I would say if like we could combine episodes, we might, but there's so much that happens in each one. It's so hard to combine
Yeah.
them. So
Well, we've done a good
yeah,
job. This is again probably our shortest episode ever. So we're getting better at
getting better. We're just like trying to like
get through it.
rip through them.
Get through
All
it.
right. We're almost done, and then I promise something a little less
Yeah,
shitty. So,
I got some fun, lighthearted stuf planned. I think
yes,
it'll be
it'll be good.
much.
That'll be fun. I'd love to do some jokey episodes
Yeah.
where I don't feel bad about like awkwardly laughing as a coping mechanism.
Yeah, just like uncomfortable laughter. just gotta get through this.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't worry. Once we get through this, once we peel this big band-aid, you'll be on cruising on Easy Street.
Be on the roll.
So yeah,
Yeah, so
thanks
on that
for
note,
if you're listening to this now, thanks for keeping riding this terrible.
thank you so much.
Yes.
I hope you watch it because it is a really good show.
Yes,
Even
it
though
is
it's
wonderful.
horrifying.
It'll make you feel terrible,
Yeah.
but it is amazing. It's a beautiful show.
Exactly.
Amazon Prime. Check it out. Everyone has Amazon Prime.
Exactly. Hopefully.
Right.
Yeah. See you guys next week.
Bye.
All right. Podcast's over.